Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, we basically will be looking at value-added tax. In other words, a lot of people would know it as VAT. So we basically are going to look at what it is, how it works, and why it's important for actually businesses and consumers. By the end of this video, you basically are going to understand who basically pays VAT, how it's calculated, and the rules around zero-rated and exempt items, right? So let's just get into the video and look at VAT uh, as a whole. Okay. Now, the concepts that are actually unique to value-added tax. The first thing that we have, obviously, is the definition for VAT. VAT is an indirect tax that is charged whenever goods are sold or when services are rendered by a registered VAT vendor, right? So when somebody goes and buys something from a local store or maybe from Pick and Pay or ShopRite, when they pay it, they actually are paying tax indirectly per se because tax is literally added on the amounts on the products that we basically are buying, right? So if for what can I say? Things like your white bread, um, I don't know what comes to mind, but like your white bread, white bread, your lotions and all that, they basically have VAT on it, right? So you paid indirectly through what? Through a VAT vendor, basically. Okay. Then now we have two categories of VAT, if you didn't know, right? The first one that we have is output VAT. What is output VAT? Output VAT is actually VAT a business charges on sales of goods and services. So this is a VAT that basically is charged by your Pick and Pay, your Clicks, your Discount, all of those businesses basically. Those are that is what we call output tax, right? No, VAT, my bad, VAT. Then input VAT is VAT a business pays on purchase of goods and services. So as your Pick and Pays and your ShopRite, you know that they buy from suppliers, right? And when they buy from their suppliers, those products that they buy, they literally have VAT on them. So that's what we call input VAT, right? So basically, VAT that a business pays off per se. Okay. Then now we basically have net VAT payable, which is the net value added tax that is payable. And where is it payable? It is payable to SARS, right? So basically output VAT, meaning that the VAT that we charge and sell minus the VAT that we actually got charged when we are purchasing goods or services. Actually will give us the amount that the business must pay to SARS basically. So in other words, what you're saying is that the difference there should be paid to SARS. So that's why you're seeing businesses having to pay back a SARS at the end of the year or at the end of a accounting period per se, right? It's because this is what happens. They take the output VAT and minusing the input VAT basically, so that they can be able to pay back SARS the VAT amount basically that they charged. Okay. Then now, just so you know, the standard rate is currently 15%, right? And the rate is actually adjusted by the Minister of Finance when they basically have a budget national speech per se, right? So he is the one that actually determines whether the 15% of VAT, whether it should increase or whether it should decrease, basically. Okay. Then now we have the types of VAT registrations this time around. The first one that we have is basically the compulsory registration, right? So with the compulsory registration, what happens is that any business whose annual income exceeds 1 million rands, they're required to register as a VAT vendor, right? Not everybody is supposed to register basically for to be a VAT vendor, basically, but you need to make sure that in a year you basically make 1 million rand, right? It need to make more than 1 million. Let me not just say 1 million rands. Let me just say more than 1 million rands, right? Then now let's talk about voluntary registration now. Now it says that any business whose annual income is less than 1 million rands may voluntarily register as a VAT vendor, provided that the business has an annual income in excess of 50,000. So meaning that if your business starts making 50,000 in a year, you can voluntarily, register as a vet vendor per se, but it's not a master that you need to. But if you're making more than 1 million, then you're literally supposed to start paying vet and actually register as a vet vendor. But if you still making less than that, you see, you literally can volunteer to actually be a vet vendor. Okay. Then now, a very good question that a lot of people may ask themselves is that is VAT actually charged on all goods and services, right? No. The vet system comprises of three types of supplies, right? The first one is that we have our standard rated supplies, right? Our standard rated supplies are is that 15% on supplies of goods and services subject to VAT. So meaning that they are items that we literally need to actually include VAT in their values or their amounts per se when you actually are dealing with them, right? So meaning that on these products we base it is a standard or it is compulsory that we literally charge VAT on them. The second one that we have is actually we have exempt supplies, right? So we're going to look at exempt supplies separately, basically. But exempt supplies are basically that saying that these ones are ones that we literally charge 0% of VAT on them, basically. But you're going to look at it in full. Third one that we have is literally a zero rated supplies, right? So with zero rated supplies means that these ones we literally do not actually include the VAT in them. Okay, we do not include the VAT in them. So that's basically what happens. Then now, let's talk about VAT exempt items, right? So when you sell VAT exempt supplies, you won't charge your customers VAT, and when you buy them, you won't be able to claim VAT from the supplier, basically. So meaning that in everything that you do, you can't charge VAT, and you literally can't claim VAT, basically, when you're buying or selling. That is what we call VAT exempt items, right? So meaning that they do not have VAT in them that you can basically claim. You get what I'm saying, or that you can charge, right? So those ones basically are what we, for example, we have our passenger transport by road and rail, right? There is no tax on those ones. Your rental of residential accommodation, your educational services, your insurance. I know it's a typo there. I wanted to say insurance. Then we have pension and life insurance benefits. Then we also have medical services and medicines supplied by state and provincial hospitals, right? And local authority clinics, right? And also know something that we need to know is that the business that sells only VAT exempt supplies is not allowed to register as a vet vendor. So if you wanted to start being a real estate, working in real estate basically, and start renting out accommodation basically, you don't have to register your business as a vet vendor basically because your things like accommodation like we have seen here they literally are vet exempt, right? So meaning that you can't charge vet on them, so meaning that you don't need to basically register your business as a vet vendor. Okay, now we have zero rated items, right? With zero rated items, it means that now the VAT is not paid on certain goods and services, right? So meaning that these following goods and services are literally subject to VAT at zero rated. So things like your bread, yeah, your goods from your goods export from SA, your maize meal, your cooking my bad, your cooking oil, your rice, your milk, things like your beans, your eggs, international transport, your petrol and diesel, services supplied outside of SA. So that's basically the things that we basically it's a zero rate tax basically. So meaning that VAT is not paid on these items, right? VAT cannot be paid on these ones. So always remember these. But I know most people know about the brown bread. I think we've known about that for the longest of time now. That brown bread basically is a zero rated item. Okay. Then now, let's get to the calculation that most people obviously like to do under text, right? The theory is just to know text and the theory behind it and the definitions per se, but calculations on VAT, right? Now, when calculating VAT, it is important to establish whether the figures provided are VAT inclusive or VAT exclusive, right? So now, here's something that you need to know. If the selling price exclusive of VAT it's 100%, right? If it's exclusive, so meaning that it doesn't have VAT in it, right? So with this one, it means that it doesn't have VAT, right? Doesn't have VAT, right? Value added tax. Then now, obviously, value added tax, you know, it's 15%, as we know that. Then now, the selling price, which is inclusive of VAT, it's 115%. And we all know that the 115% comes from what? The 100% of the selling price that is exclusive of VAT plus the 15% of the VAT, which is in total will give us 115%. So that's basically how you would do these ones. Okay. But now let's look at VAT calculations per se, right? Indeed. Now, if you are given the VAT exclusive amount, for example, we have that 6,000 and asked to calculate VAT, right? So they're saying that you're given an exclusive amount. So meaning that this amount doesn't have what? This amount basically doesn't have VAT in it, basically, and we want to calculate VAT. So if it doesn't have VAT, how do you calculate VAT? We would say 6,000, then you would multiply it by the 15%, right? Because VAT is basically 15% of whatever the selling price was, right? Then obviously we would get our answer as 900. Then this would be the value of VAT. Okay, that would be VAT. Then now, if you are given the VAT inclusive amount, so meaning that this amount has VAT in it, how would you now get to the VAT value, right? What you do this time around, you would say 6,900, then you multiply it by what? You would multiply it by 15 over 115. Then obviously that would basically give you the VAT value of 900 rands, right? And that is how you would get VAT per se, right? But now let's look at them whereby now you are given different amounts. They may ask you to find the VAT exclusive amount. They might ask you to find the VAT inclusive. They might ask you to find VAT. So let's look at an example whereby it looks at all of that. Now, let's look at this one. They say calculate the unknown amount. You bought stationery, bought stationery, NCA stationery, and we paid 1,035 rands using a debit card. The amount includes VAT. So if this amount includes VAT, we know that it's a VAT inclusive amount, which we're going to put here, which is what? 1,035. And now we know that this is the known part about it. Okay. Now, if they ask us now to basically get VAT and the VAT inclusive amount, how would you do that? The first thing that we're going to do is that we're going to look for the VAT amount. We're going to look for the VAT amount. Now, with the VAT amount, what happens is that now, this is the formula that you're going to use, right? So the formula that we use is that the unknown over the known times the value of known. I'll explain what I mean by known and unknown basically. So now, if we are asked to find the VAT amount, obviously the unknown would be that VAT amount, right? So meaning that in the formula, the unknown would be the percentage per se, right? It would be 15, then obviously the known would be what? The VAT inclusive, which is 115, right? Then you're going to multiply it by what? The known amount, which is 1,035, and that right there should give us 135. And that 135 item basically is the VAT value, 135. Then now, if we go and look for the VAT exclusive amount, right? The VAT exclusive amount is what happens now. We have the unknown divided by the known times the value, right? Obviously, the unknown, it's 100%, so you're going to have 100 divided by the known, which is the inclusive, which is 150. Then you multiply it by the known item, which is 1,035. And that together, when we multiply it, we're going to get a value of 900. Then the VAT exclusive amount would basically be 900. So make sure that you know this formula per se, because it is very helpful when it comes to calculating the VAT amount per se, or the VAT exclusive, or the VAT inclusive, right? It's the known percentage divided by unknown percentage divided by the known percentage times the value of the known value, no, times the value of the known amount, right? So that's basically how we would do it. So now I want us to basically look at just transitions basically as if you were to be given on the side, right? So now the first one, let's just say that you're given what? They say that cash sales of 6,000 exclusive. So they tell you that this amount is exclusive, right? So if they tell you that this amount is exclusive, remember, if it's exclusive, it means that it doesn't have VAT. So that is your 100%. So we know that we have that. So if we are looking for VAT, obviously that it is what? The formula says what? The unknown, obviously VAT would be 15, then over the known, which is 100, times what? 600. And that right there, ladies and gentlemen, will basically give you what? Sorry, it would basically give us right? It will basically give us 90. 90, right? Then obviously if we are finding for we are looking for the inclusive amount, right? If you're looking for the inclusive amount, what happens is that the inclusive obviously it will be the unknown, which is inclusive would be 115 divided by what? The known, which is 100%. Then you're gonna multiply it by 600. Then right there, we basically would get 690. 690. I know somebody can actually just say, if I'm looking for the exclusive and I have the exclusive and the VAT, I can just add the two. Still the same thing. If you say 600 plus 90, you'd still get 690. Okay. So meaning that that's basically how you would do it. So remember the formula, it is what you need to know. The unknown percentage divided by the known percentage. Then you multiply that by what? The value of the known, right? Of what we know. Okay. So that's how you would basically look at this one. And that right there, guys, is basically um work on value added text, right? So I hope that the video was very helpful to everybody. And for those that basically also need a tutor, I also do offer tutoring lessons. I actually do grade 8 to 12 maths, then 11 to 12 physical sciences. And that is my poster there, and I have my numbers and my email address attached there below. So if you want to join in and actually, start posting your or improving your marks, you can hit me up and we literally can start working together. All right. So with that said, guys, thank you for watching the video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment down below what you would like me to cover, and I'll see you next time.